Hi everyone, Woody here. I hope you're doing well. I hope that your year is off to a really great start. I put out a post on my Instagram story asking for y'all's questions about Night Thirst, and so many of you were so nice enough to take the time and ask some questions. So I thought that we would do a little impromptu Q&A. Really impromptu because I'm looking at myself in the monitor and I did just get in from walking my dog, and I realize now that I have a combination of both bed head and hat hair. Anyways, before I answer those questions, I just wanted to take a moment to check in and catch you up a little bit on what I've been up to. So let's get cozy and chat. So I kit bashed and based my very first Mordheim warband. I'm doing just a classic undead. I know, so out of character for me, spooky. I'll be taking those with me to Under the Dice Fest at the end of this month, and I am so excited. I'm really happy with how they're coming out, and I cannot wait to play Mordheim for the first time ever. I've also been working on a video about my current favorite board game, and I'm very excited to share that with you guys. I recently became a mother of 3, which has kept me incredibly busy. If you'd like to know more about my relationship with Furby, you should definitely check out Theo from over at SlimeHouseTV's his holiday special, which I was very honored to be a part of. You should absolutely check it out. It's a really great video. I've also been working on a sneaky little collaboration with my dear friend Trent, who you probably know as Miscast. I was also asked to be part of a collaboration with a really talented group of people pulled together by Bill making stuff. So I'm really excited to make stuff with Bill. He just had a game come out recently too. It's called Bangarang in the Gutterlands. You should really check that out. See, I've also been having vampire themed streams every Wednesday. I've been really enjoying those. It's been super fun to dress up and to play really silly games together.
A firefighter hat. Ooh, I'm a stripper. Oh no!
We'll be keeping every Wednesday vampire themed for the foreseeable future while I'm working on Night Thirst. Also vampire related, I recently got to play Vampire the Masquerade for the first time ever with the folks over at MagiRPG, and the best table I could have asked for. It was so much fun. It was really special to have my first VTM experience with that group, especially having the opportunity to play with my dear sweet friend Emalynde. She's the one who the Night Thirst archetype of the noble is based on, and having her trust in using her likeness and inspiration just means so much to me. I can't even tell you. Also, here's art of her and I's VTM characters, and it's so cute. They're so in love. If you missed that stream, MagiRPG actually has the VOD right here on YouTube, so you can watch it. I'm gonna link that below along with everybody who I mentioned in this video. Oh, whoops. If this is your first time here, you're probably wondering, who is this woman and why is she so busy? Hi, my name is Woody. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm so busy because I'm just excited about life and I want to do everything. I'm a full-time internet goblin on a mission to cultivate community through sharing and making weird art and games. I'm so happy you're here. I'm also a first-time game designer, which I'm gonna talk to you guys about right now. First off, thank you everybody who took the time to ask me a question. I really appreciate it. Let's get into it. You have a game? Dude, tell me everything. Dude, I do have a game. It's called Night Thirst. It's a tabletop miniatures battle royale game where you pick from 6 different vampire archetypes and you're trying to out-hunt your fellow vampire. You're trying to suck the most blood before the sun rises. How much of the joy is the cosplay, which rocks by the way, thank you, versus the gaming? The cosplay is a cherry on top of something that I really love to do. It is fun to take a break once in a while and to play dress up. How many players will it have? Night Thirst, you are playing between 2 and 6 players. I would like to do a solo version someday. I just don't want it to be an afterthought and a little, you know, a little addendum at the end of the rules. I would like it to be its own fully fleshed out thing, so someday. Would Bauhaus be a suitable soundtrack during play? Absolutely. I really encourage you to put on spooky goth music while you play Night Thirst. How is it different from VTM? VTM, because it is a tabletop role-playing game, unless it's a one-shot, it's intended to be this ongoing game. While there is a lot of lore, it is a tabletop battle royale game first and foremost. Where did the idea come from? The idea came from I was working on a solo RPG game about dating monsters, and one of the monsters in this game is a vampire. There's actually 2 vampires in that game, and I was just thinking about vampires and this idea popped in my head and I was like, what? I want to play this game. That'd be a really cool game. I would love to play that. and it didn't exist. So I was like, well, I'm gonna make it, and I made it. Release date. A couple people asked this. Guess what? We just announced that it's coming out February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day this year is gonna suck. That is not a question, that is a compliment, but thank you. Is there a vampire based on Witty? There is. I didn't plan on there being one, but I did a cosplay of the partier, and we were talking about it in a creative meeting, and I was like, yeah, this outfit I think would be really good for the partier, and Ben was like, do you just want to make it you? And I was like, okay, that's kind of fun. Yeah. So it's not the first time that I've been a character in a Black Site Studios game, but it is the first time I've been a miniature in my own game. What is the hardest part of making a game? The hardest part about making a game is learning the language that is writing game mechanics. It is a very different thing knowing how to play games versus how to make them, how to make everything balanced, how to make everything work, how to not accidentally break the game, how to find these weird little loopholes, these things that don't make sense. It is learning a new language, and it is very difficult, and it is very, very rewarding. Can I get it in the UK? Yes. I know that things are definitely more expensive to ship there, but it will absolutely be available in the UK. What is my favorite movie vampire? Ooh, that's really hard. The first one that just popped in my head right now is Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Do you plan on creating expansions for the game? Yes, I do. I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself right now, but I very much have intentions of expanding this and the Nightthirst universe in the future. Is everyone in it hot? Well, I think all vampires are hot, so yes. That is subjective. Some of them are scary and kind of gross, but yes. Does it use a dice system? Yes. You just use a d20. I wanted it to be really simple. I wanted it to be really straightforward, so you just need a d20. Average model count. Okay, so there are 6 vampire archetypes. There's gonna be 2 sculpts for each one, and then there are 4 different prey types. And at any given time, you have 10 prey on a board. That's a standard game of Nightthirst. Is there a way to get actually eaten by a vampire in it? It depends on who you play with. Favorite human type to feast on? Are you talking about in real life or in the game? Will it have its own miniatures range? Yes. And I'm very excited. It's been very fun to work with Ben from Black Site in creating the figures, pulling together inspiration boards, watching the concept art come together. It's been very cool. I know that there are a lot of vampire miniatures that exist, and I really just wanted to add something different. Can it be queer? Yes, absolutely. There is a group of vampires, one of the archetypes, that their whole deal is that they don't turn men. In few words, how can you describe it mechanically speaking? So mechanically speaking, as a vampire, you have a list of actions, and they are broken down into 3 levels of difficulty. And you have an allotment for how many actions you can do in a turn. And so it's just simple checks. It's just simple dice checks with a d20. Is there a mechanic for stuffing a dead body in a car's trunk? And if so, how many bodies fit in the trunk of an 87 Studebaker? I have multiple places on the manuscript written to feel free to embellish things. Like the ancient one, they can shapeshift, and they can shapeshift into something harmless appearing, like a cat. The mechanic functions as a way to be able to hide in plain sight, but I wrote a little note like, hey, if you want it to be a thing where the prey models, you decide that they're gonna go over and the prey are gonna pet that cat, not knowing that they're petting like a 500-year-old vampire, I love that for you. Have fun with it. It's silly. It's silly. Vampires are silly. Have fun. Are there corgis? Canonically, no. But if you want to put a corgi on the board, I think that's great. What is my favorite mechanic in the game? I think so far, my favorite mechanic in the game, even though it has been at times, kind of sticking point, a little area that's needed troubleshooting, is the mechanic that prey have levels of fear. And because it is very funny, so terrified prey, that's the most scared they can be, terrified. Terrified prey starts every activation of theirs by screaming, and it's very funny to me. They're just screaming. They're just running around in random directions, potentially scaring other prey. It's funny to me. Do you need an editor? I know a guy. I have an editor. Shout out to Tim. but it is open for playtesting. You are more than welcome to playtest Night Thirst. I would love that. And I'm very grateful for everyone who has. What does the game focus on? Roleplay, character creation, mechanics. It's this combination of being focused on mechanics, but also I really encourage people to narrate how things are going down to add sort of your own cinematic flair to the game. What parts of the design process did you find most rewarding, most difficult? The most difficult I kind of touched on earlier, the concept of learning a new language. It's very tricky. It's not the way that my brain automatically works. It's also the most rewarding part to me because I have really watched myself become more confident with making decisions, with understanding how things will click together, making calls that need to be made. I'm still learning so much. I'm really trying to just absorb everything like a little sponge right now, especially because it is my first game, but I've really enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed also watching things come together in the way of lore and mechanics feeding into one another. It's been really rewarding to kind of think about, because I'm so lore focused first and story first, but it's been really interesting to me to go, okay, what does a mechanic look like for that? And any questions that I have about mechanics and how the game functions, looking at it through, well, what makes sense lore wise, that kind of lens, it's been very, very satisfying. Can people who are thirsty during the day also participate? Absolutely. I think it is very fun that when you create something, you naturally want to Google it and see if anyone else has made it or if the name's taken. And when you Google Night Thirst, what comes up is people Googling, why am I so thirsty in the middle of the night? I'm really hoping to take up some of that space in that Google search. Is there a Night Thirst universe? If so, what is it like? Yes. Night Thirst exists in near modern times. Vampires have existed forever. There are multiple kinds of vampires as they have been here. They have evolved. Some have evolved to be the perfect predator in the way that they can blend in with humans, and then some have evolved to just be truly monstrous people-eating machines. And because vampires have existed for so long, there are a lot of different generations of vampires, and they're very different. A vampire that was turned 500 years ago is not going to have a lot in common with a vampire who was turned last month. But the thing that they do have in common is drinking blood. So a long time ago, vampires started participating in the Night Thirst, where they would choose representatives, and those vampires would come together and they would attempt to out-hunt the other vampires. Just a little bit of friendly competition. But as time went on and vampires evolved, humans evolved, and there were humans who knew about vampires. There are two organizations of humans that exist in the Night Thirst universe and know about vampires. There's the government, they know about vampires, and there's Stake. They are a privately funded, very mysterious kind of military-esque operation. And because Stake is privately funded, there are certain limitations the government faces that they don't. So they do work together, though they do have a somewhat contentious relationship at times. And they work together with vampires. And because of this, they have established these treaties and truces of sorts where there are sanctioned areas, sanctioned cities where vampires are allowed to participate in the Night Thirst and they are allowed to hunt. Regular, ordinary people like you and me, we do not know about this in this world. So while the Night Thirst is going on, the government knows about it and Stake knows about it. And Stake's true mission, their task, is to keep the existence of vampires, that knowledge, away from humans. There is a possibility that a Stake agent will appear when you're playing Night Thirst. They're not there to hunt vampires, but they will hunt you if you get too close to them. What will bring Stake agents to your Night Thirst is if you have too many terrified prey screaming and running around everywhere, because you don't want to draw attention to yourselves. So what Stake agents will do is they will show up, and they will show up there to kill your prey, but you don't want that because you gotta get the most blood so you can win Night Thirst and win bragging rights. But yeah, there's a lot going on in that universe. If you would like a lore-specific Night Thirst kind of video, you guys just let me know. Do I need to buy terrain to play Night Thirst? No, you do not. You can absolutely buy terrain from Night Thirst. I'm currently putting together a board with MDF terrain given to me by the folks at Blacksite. Thank you, Blacksite. And I'm making a very fun sort of nighttime carnival theme board. And if you'd like to see a video on that, just let me know. But I really want to encourage you to get creative with it. I want you to play with terrain that you've made. I want you to maybe think about buying or making specific terrain for scenarios if that's exciting to you, using stuff that you already have. You can do whatever you want with it. There are different terrain requirements, but if you don't have it and you just end up using, I don't know, a box instead, that's fine. My heart is so filled with gratitude every day for this adventure, for this experience, for everyone who's helped me get here, all of it. I'm grateful to you for watching this video, for my Patreon supporters for making it happen. Hi guys. For the folks at Blacksite for taking this chance on me, to the Blacksite writers for being such incredible peers and so unbelievably helpful, for my friends, for my family, for the wonderful playtesters. Just okay, this is turning into what's going to be like the dedication part of the book, but I'm just so incredibly grateful. It's really hard to sustain just grinding and grinding and grinding towards something, but I really feel like now there's a solid foundation here and I can watch it all start to come together, and it's an indescribable feeling. I'm just so excited to see what's next, and I'm really excited that we're going to take it on together. If you liked this sort of informal check-in video, or if you have more questions about Night Thirst, or if you just want to say hi and tell me how your 2024 is starting off, just drop that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, don't forget that you are currently making the world a better place just by being you. It's like your superpower. So keep doing that. Bye, guys.